Start.
A very good morning to the teacher and the students. Today I, Drishti, roll number 1 of class 10th B, will be presenting a flip teaching on the poem A Tiger in the Zoo by George Leslie Norris. George Leslie Norris was a prize-winning Welsh poet and a short story writer. He was the most important poet of the post-war periods. This poem, A Tiger in the Zoo, written by him, explains the agony and helplessness of a caged tiger that lives in a zoo. The poet explains that what his life would be when he was in a zoo. He also brings out the contrast between when a tiger is in his natural habitat and when he is caged in a zoo. Stops in his vivid strips the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet, quiet in his quiet rage. The poet says that the tiger that is confined in the zoo moves around in the cage under his bright colored skin. He says that the tiger can only take a few steps in the cage because the cage is small and there is not much space available there. One cannot hear its footsteps because he has very soft feet, just like velvet, because of which there is no sound of the tiger's footsteps. The tiger tries to control his anger by walking quietly. He is here angry because he is not free and is being caged by the cages. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass, near the water hole where plump deer pass. The poet now tries to bring out the contrast that when a tiger was in his natural habitat, it would have hid himself behind the long grasses near the water bodies so that it could easily catch a deer as it moved. But actually, the tiger here is caged and he cannot do so. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edges, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. The poet says that if the tiger would have been free, he would have snarled around the houses located at the outskirts of the village. He would terrorize people with his sharp teeth and claws. This would create fear among the people living in the village. But he is locked in the concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring the visitors. Now the poet comes to the reality of the tiger in a cage. He says that the tiger is confined in a strong cell that is built by a strong building material. He further says that the tiger is behind the bars. He just stalks in the cage. He never tries to terrorize the visitors because his power is restricted by the cage. Therefore, he ignores them. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. The poet says that in the night, the tiger hears the sounds of the patrolling cars. Patrolling cars, they are the police vehicles that are used to guard at night. So in the night, the tiger hears the sounds of these cars. He then stares at the shining stars with his shining eyes. The poet wants to say that the tiger here is sad as he is confined in the cage, so he cannot do anything. Therefore, he stares at the stars in the night and tries to divert his thoughts towards them. From this poem, we have learned the importance of freedom. Whether there is a human or there is an animal, everyone deserves freedom. The poem also wants to make us understand that all the animals will be happy only if they are free. He also wants to make us understand the dangers of deforestation and the blessings of forestation. Thank you.
Thank you, Drishti. It was lovely presented, very nicely presented.